Welcome to Ask the Experts. I'm Jeff, and
Mari Berwitt.
yeah, this is my wife, guys, just in case you thought she was a phantom or a ghost or something. So tonight we're glad to come on and share with you some of our advice. She's only going to stick around for a little while, but we have a new announcement that now we're going to be serving Spanish-speaking couples across the planet, and we're really excited about that. So I want you guys to go on and first like, share, subscribe. Start asking your questions. What we're going to do is we're going to go over those questions here shortly, but I'm going to take a short break really quickly just to make our new announcement. Let's see here. How do I do this? Okay, here we go. Couples Academy is committed to serving couples around the world by reaching beyond cultural lines and language barriers. We are proud to announce that we now serve the Spanish-speaking community. So whether you're here in the United States or abroad, Couples Academy has a place for you.
Couples Academy se compromete a servir parejas de todo el mundo, superando las fronteras culturales y las barreras del idioma. Ahora, estamos orgullosos de anunciar que servimos a la comunidad de habla hispana. Entonces, ya sea que estés aquí en los Estados Unidos o en el extranjero, Couples Academy está aquí para servirle.
Yeah, that was my wife. I'm actually kind of proud of her. That was really cool that she wants to help out now. So she's going to be coming on and helping with certain things with the team as she's training to do what we do every day. So I've got a couple people that are in here now. I see that there's several people on. I know you're missing Danielle, Nina. I promise you she's going to be back on here soon. They had a private with a couple this evening that was imperative that they both be there. So I see Nina says hi. Thank you, spouse, and watching you throw bombs this morning after this game. That was towards Asani, of course. I'll make sure I pass on that message. See Danielle here. Danielle Starmer, good evening. I was hoping you could give me some tips on how I can respect my husband's boundaries. I'm not good at giving him space when he asks for it, and I am seeing a counselor. So this is a big thing. Danielle, I'm going to recommend that you read a book called Boundaries. Let me see. Who was that by? I have it here in my office, but I don't feel like digging for it. So if I can just find that for you real quick. Boundaries. And that is by... which one was it? Okay. So... yes, Boundaries by Dr. Henry Cloud and Dr. John Townsend. When to say yes, when to say no, and how to take control over your life. It's a very good book. It teaches you about the quintessential ways of understanding what boundaries are and how to implement them in your life. I could spend an hour just talking about boundaries. But simple tips are just literally trying to understand why those boundaries are necessary and why he needs that space. And I would suggest you have a conversation with him about that. But I would also suggest you read that book. Fidelina Franco says, and I'm probably messed up your name, I apologize. She is so beautiful. Thank you so much. I'm a very fortunate man. We have Dee Dee Jones coming in, Couples Academy, South Carolina. I got a bunch of hellos, but I have no questions. So the rule here is that if you don't have questions, I'm going to bow out. So thank you, Dee Dee Jones. She is very intelligent. She's the light of my life, to be honest with you. I can't even imagine. Really, truly my best friend. Like, we have a lot of fun together. And we've spent the last couple of years on a mission to travel and see the world. I made a promise to her years ago that I'd show her the world, and I didn't keep that promise at all. We didn't take vacations for many years as I was caught up in work and my businesses and different things like that. But we are now out doing that. So I'm taking care of her, if you're wondering. So can somebody please ask me a question? Because otherwise I'm going to end up going on some kind of diatribe about something that's not important to your lives. So I have Troy coming in, who mentions Henry. I don't know what that's about. Henry Cloud. Oh, Henry Cloud. Yes, Dr. Henry Cloud. That's correct, Troy. I'm trying. Okay, let's look. We got a question now. Shalise, I am trying really hard to overcome trust issues. I do fine for a minute, but the slightest thing will send me into doubt. I fear pushing him into a bad behavior because I am not trusting the seemingly good. So, as we always say, trust is lost in buckets and won in drops, but I can actually talk to something here that I don't really get a chance to expound upon much. But this is what we call the certainty bridge. So all of us are trying to find certainty, right? The reason why you're having a hard time trusting is because you're looking for certainty. You want to know for a fact that he's not going to make the same mistakes again. You don't have to worry about it anymore. That's what you're looking for, is that certainty. But there's a process to getting to certainty, and the first step is gaining clarity. So this certainty bridge goes a little bit like this. First, we have belief. Belief is when I want something to be true, right? We have a strong desire for something to be true, but we have no evidence and no action towards it being true. Faith is when we actually say, okay, not only do I want it to be true, but I'm going to start making moves in the direction of that becoming true. And I'll go in a little bit deeper. I just want to give you the first breakdown. Then there's trust. Trust comes after faith for a reason. Trust is when I see that the actions that I'm taking are working, right? And then we arrive at certainty, which is knowledge. And I'm talking about not informational knowledge, because that's only experienced in the mind, but actually experiential knowledge. That means that I actually know for a fact, I've seen the evidence for it of being true. I know that this process, as long as this process stays the same, it's going to be the same over and over again. So let me just go back into that a little bit. Faith, I have faith. I have a belief that I could be a good cook, right? And I am. But that's besides the point. Belief that I could be a good cook and I can make this particular recipe I see. Faith is when I download the recipe, read it through, and I go to buy the ingredients. Now I'm putting my money where my mouth is, and I'm taking actions towards making this particular dish. Let's say it's creme brulee or something. I buy all the ingredients, and then I make the dish, and it comes out terrible. Well, I have to go back to stay in that faith place a little bit. Well, I just did it wrong, and I course correct. And then I make it right. Now I trust that I can make it right. Now, I do it again and again and again. And now I'm getting feedback from everybody. Oh my God, you make the best creme brulee in the world. That's knowledge. You're getting feedback from the world telling you that you're on that path. So as you're overcoming these trust issues, I want you to first find something that you can believe in for him to be true that wasn't true before. So maybe it's the fact that before he didn't come home on time all the time, and now he is. Set that belief. Okay, I can see that that's happening. Okay, I'm going to have faith that that's what he's doing. Okay, and then you see that he's actually doing it, then there's trust in that. You don't need to trust everything about him at once. We understand there's going to be some insecurities around certain things. So why don't we set up a system of things and write a list of things we want to believe about our husband to be true? And then let's go through which ones he has shown good faith in and which ones you can trust. And as you write this list and you see him accomplishing it, then you're going to have to be willing to yield your heart a little bit in that direction. Does that help, Shalise? Okay, so let me know. I want to hear your feedback on that, if that helps. And if you have another question, please, let's get into it. Let me say your name right. Fidelina Franco. I hope I'm saying that right. What does it mean when your husband for the first time says he can't imagine his life without you? And you're trying to repair your marriage after 21 years. What does it mean when he says he can't? I'm telling you, that's probably the most sincere thing he's probably said. Because I can't imagine my life without my wife. But if you told me 10 years ago, I would have been saying I couldn't imagine my life anymore with her. So it's a big progress step there. And, you're trying to repair the marriage. There are definitely steps that could do that. I mean, I hope you're seeking counseling, and I hope you're doing it with a reputable person. Also, if you want to reach out to us at any time, you can do that. The links are below. We're having a last chance weekend here in a couple of weeks here. Wow, it's getting fast. And the second week of February, from the 11th to the 13th, what better way to bring in Valentine's Day than actually restoring and rebuilding your marriage with help, and walking into this Valentine's Day a little happier than you were last year. Um, I have a problem with my GPS says I was at a house I've never been. Have you found that that has made mistakes? The problem was 2017 through 2019. I have a suggestion. Use a different GPS. I don't. I've never seen GPSs that incorrect. Have you ever been to that house before? I guess you said you've never been there. Um, Brother, I would just get some tracking software and give it to your wife. And there's stuff that is a little more accurate out there if you're willing to pay for the apps. If that's what the reason is you're doing it, to try to bring some certainty and clarity for her and some transparency on your end. I don't know. You need to go a little deeper with that question for me if you can. What's the purpose of this? Okay. I see Nina. Husband is not able to make a decision how to be loving without losing it. Okay. Nina, I'm not sure exactly what that means. Husband is not able to make a decision how to be loving without losing it. You need to, yeah, of course you make a decision. That's a difficult process for some men. I don't know that I completely understand the question. If you could elaborate, that would help. So Fidelina Franco, he's the type of person who really never shares his feelings. You made this comment before that he said he can't imagine his life without you, doesn't share his feelings. I would look at that as a good sign. I don't see any indicators that has anything to do with anything negative. I mean, he says he can't imagine his life without you. That's a good sign that he's starting to open up. And like I said, once again, you may want to seek counseling to help understand each other in this new process, because when we get into a marriage, a lot of times we grow apart and it feels like one person is grown in one direction, another person is grown in another direction. You feel like you're in a house with strangers. And, that strange feeling is weird, especially when they start manifesting new behaviors. It can be off-putting a little bit, like, whoa, what is going on here? I know my wife went through that when I started showing up, that, it was kind of weird for her. Like, can I trust this? Is this real? And I don't want this to go away. I hope this isn't just a phase. And so going through all those things. So if you can, just discuss it with him and see, why did he say that? And try to get to the bottom of it and do it in a patient and calm manner so he doesn't feel threatened and doesn't shut down. It sounds like he's somebody who shuts down if he doesn't show his emotions. I have Danielle. Can you give me any advice on grief? I lost my dad almost 4 years ago, and I'm still having so much pain from losing him. He was a very important person in my life and was my only true parent. I get you. Like, that loss of a parent or loss of a loved one can be a very serious thing. I had a friend who just lost his grandfather and his favorite aunt, and I gave him this one piece of advice about dealing with it. If you were sitting down having a conversation with him about your grief right now, what would he want for you? What would he want for you to be experiencing right now? Because your grief and your loss that you're feeling is warranted. It is. But that grief and that loss right now is something he's not experiencing. It's something you're experiencing because of your attachment to him. But if you sit down and you actually have a conversation, and I don't want you to go crazy here, but the conversation with the imaginary but real essence of who he is, what would he want for your life? What would he want you to do right now? Would he be happy that you're grieving still for him? And I would ask that in that conversation that you're having with that version of him, which I know because he said that you're the only true parent in your life, are you willing to honor his wishes and just be exactly what you know he'd want for you? And in that honoring of his wishes, for you to be happy and live life and experience life, you're honoring him the greatest way you possibly could. And sitting in sadness probably would bring him grief in heaven. So I just want you to consider that, if that helps. I don't want to go too deep into that, but I mean, that's an hour-long conversation we could get into if we needed to. But if that helps, just let me know. Let's see here. How do I not allow old things to creep back in when getting into a disagreement? That's a difficult one. So there are all types of ways to deal with triggers, because basically what that is we create a problem and we anchor it in the past, and we want to keep throwing it back up in their face over and over and over again, and that's really ego. It could be pain depending on what it is, but part of it is being able to throw that jab and trying to hurt someone else in the middle of a fight, and we don't want to do that. So how do you not allow those things to creep back in? I would ask you, how often are you thinking about these things? I would ask you, how often do you dwell on the past? And what is the purpose, Miss Music Notes, that you are developing for the future? See, the more we have a plan for our future, the less we rely on the things of the past. You know, there's a Bible verse that says, when I was a child, I acted like a child. And when I became an adult, I put away childish things. And that's also just things in the past anyway. When you grow past a certain point, you stop relying on the past to inform your future. A dangerous place is when we take things in the past and we cast them in the future as if they're going to happen again. And if we get into the habit of doing that, we'll create fear, anxiety. That's exactly what fear is when we take a past experience. I mean, what anxiety is when we take a past experience of something being bad, we add in our imagination of what's going to happen in the future, and we compound that over and over and over again. So one of the best things I could tell you is meditation is a way, because it brings you calm, and try to be present. You know, be here now. Look at what's happening now. And if all the indicators are not those things of the past, then you're going to have to bite your tongue and not bring up the past. You don't want to bring up the past because you don't want it to become a reality again. And one of the things I've seen over and over and over again in rebellious husbands and even rebellious spouses, well, if they say I did it, then if they're saying I'm doing it, I might as well do it. And not everybody acts on that, thank God. But at the same time, what we don't want to do is create those conversations even in their mind. And so keep that in your mind when you're going through disagreements. And I would actually look at understanding this process, a process to handling disagreements that is really, really informative. I promise you, I'm going to come back to you with that book. I read a lot, so sometimes the names of books, Hassani's like killer at this. He remembers every name of every book that he's ever read. I guarantee it. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but at the same time, there's a book that actually teaches you how to walk through things when they become a disagreement. First thing is pause in the disagreement first and figure out what you want as an outcome, right? And when you figure out exactly what you want as an outcome, we call this walking the block. This is a technique I teach the guys. There is your story and your why behind that story. There's his story and his why behind that story. Then there's the story that you can imagine as the outcome that you are seeking. And then there's the story that you both can imagine. If you can take the time to pull back and walk through why he would be saying what he's saying, why you're saying what you're saying, what you really want as an outcome, and then what you want as an outcome for both of you, then what you may do is approach the problem and use language that's a little different. I hope that helps. Okay, got a few more here. Question. Dee Jones, how to win a husband's love back when he doesn't seem to like you anymore without any rhyme or reason, and he refuses to talk about why he's no longer in love with his wife. Okay, so this can be several things. I don't know if you guys are fighting or if there's a backstory to this. If there was an infidelity involved, any of those kinds of things. I don't know those details. But without going into those details, I'll tell you this, that it's very, very common for you to go from being enamorados, as my wife would say, where you're enamored with each other, to then boyfriend and girlfriend, and then to fiancés, and then to husband and wife. And then if you have children, that's where things start changing. You become mommy and daddy. And then there's the business of the marriage and the relationship of the marriage. And a lot of times the business of the marriage, managing the home, managing the family, managing the finances and taking care of everything, can often lead to a space where there's no more connection, because you're doing all these things and they seem so much more important than working on the relationship. And also, he may be going through his own personal crisis in life, where maybe some of his ideals, goals, dreams that he had for himself that have nothing to do with you are not being fulfilled. And that can also lead to withdrawal from the relationship. One of the things that you guys can do is you need to sit down and talk about it and get a purpose. And if nothing else, get a counselor involved and let him know that that's important to you, that you can restore a level of happiness within your relationship. If you can find a purpose or a goal or something that you guys enjoy together to do, go on and do those things in the meantime. But it's probably something you need to have talked about, because he's obviously not revealing what's in there. And that has to have come from some kind of pain or lack of communication, where he feels like he can't open up to you right now. And sometimes we need assistance when that happens so that we can reach the highest height. Okay, we have Gorgeous Wales. Hi, Mr. Jeff and everyone. Hello, Gorgeous. I can actually say that to you because you wrote it there as your name. Shalise, yes, it helps very much. I am going to do that tonight. Thank you, Shalise. Jewel, I miss you, Jewel. Tell your husband I said hi. Oh, wow, he's here too. Hey, what's going on, Gonzalez? How you doing, brother? It's good to see you guys just rocking with the show again tonight. Durat Creep, when me and my wife are on the road to positivity, how can I keep her focused on positive things and away from our past marriage problems? Okay, on the road to positivity. So here's the thing: clear, concise marital goals, whatever they are. Like me and my wife are at a point where ours is traveling the world. So I'll give you a tip. There's something called dreamscaping. And dreamscaping is when you sit down and you come up with a dream and visualize it together. Now, this could be done for anything. It could be done for shopping. It could be done for travel. It could be done for buying a house, buying a car. It's where you include each other in each other's decisions and you just dream together on what it's going to be like. It could also be done on like things that you're going to do together, places you want to go together, a place that you want to be in your relationship. All of those things. So what you can do is simply just find a dream that you can share and then work slowly at creating pieces of it until you can create the whole thing. I find that that is one of the best distractions. Then also find fun things to do together, like workday, play day. Workday, you talk about the issues that are present in the business part of the marriage. And then on play day, you go out and just have fun. The more fun that you can have together, the easier that you can become best friends again. The more you hang out and make her, you might have to drop your boys for a while, brother. Like I had to drop all of my male friends at one particular point so that I could become focused on my wife, who is my best friend. No one should ever take her place. I gave up sports. I gave up video games. I play video games with my kids like maybe twice a year. I don't watch sports. I don't even know half the players in any of the things. I hear about things once in a while. And when I go to the gym, it's always on the screen. So I see certain different things and people bring things up. But I literally gave up a lot so that I could spend more quality time with my wife. And then I actually didn't plan on giving up sports forever. I just gave it for a little while. And then I found I wasn't interested anymore. So what I would find is ways to show her that you're focused on her. You know, that song, Focus on Me. I think that was HER. You know, a lot of women are crying that every single day, and we men are really bad at translating that into action. Kathy McCoy, what does it mean when your husband is defensive? He says he does know what he wants. Well, Kathy, there's a backstory to that, right? Sometimes defensiveness is necessary. And we can, as spouses, often put our spouses on the defensive. And when we're doing actions that make them have to want to defend themselves, it's one defensive is a very specific word. It feels like I need to defend myself, right? Now, if there's something actually going on that you have evidence of, that's one thing. If he's being defensive, that's actually being protective and trying to hide a lie. But if you don't have evidence of something and you're bringing those things into your imagination and you're creating that, then they're going to be defensive because they're always being accused or living in a moment that is not real. And so they have to put their guard up because they have to watch every move they make. Otherwise, there may be a threat. And I hope that makes sense in your situation. I know it's not true for every situation, but based on what I have here, that's what I have to go on. Jose, if I live in Mexico, how can I make contact with you guys? And do you had to coach Mexican or other nationality couples? So I just showed a commercial at the beginning of this. Nosotros hablamos español, y yo y mi esposa, y también nosotros tenemos otra gente que está coaches in español también. And yes, we do coach all around the world. And so I will probably show that commercial again. I do need to let you guys know about the Last Chance Weekend that's coming up here in February. So let me go on and run that commercial real quick. And you guys can sign up for that in the links below. Let me just see here. I am still pretty new at running this show, so bear with me for 1 second. Here we go. Last Chance Weekend, February. So that was Last Chance Weekend coming up this February 11th through the 13th, right before Valentine's Day. What a better way to restore, rebuild, and revive your marriage, except right before Valentine's Day. This is the best Valentine's Day gift I can imagine for you if you're in a bad space right now. We've watched couples come in separated for months and months and months and leave together happier than we've ever seen them, and we've seen a lot. Because there's a lot of work that's done there. You're getting about 6 to 8 months worth of counseling in one short weekend. And it's literally a journey in the mind, in the heart, and in the soul of a relationship. And we get through a lot of issues that I can't get through consecutively week after week. And, Hassani and Danielle are there. Lakeisha's there. I'm there. Some of the other counselors are there. And soon my wife will be there. Jose, I did want to mention to you real quick, you can reach out to us via the number. You can call us on WhatsApp, call Hassani's number. Obviously, you speak English, so If you can, or maybe you have that translated, I have no idea. But you can reach out to us on that. If you need to speak to someone in Spanish, Hassani will get you to one of us that do. My wife's Dominican. We have a couple other counselors that actually speak Spanish as well that just came on the team. So we'll be more than willing to help you. Also, if we have to go to Mexico, we're in Mexico. Me and my wife are in Mexico 3 or 4 times a year at minimum. And we love Mexico. It's one of our favorite places on the planet. So that's to answer your question. And Fidelina, I'm glad you got the answer you were looking for. Also, I have Nina asked him, it's just from her earlier question, asked him if he wanted to read a book or watch a video. It says, whatever you want. Then I say, okay, decide. He says, let's do anything. He won't make a decision. It'll always whatever you want. Well, Nina, I'm telling you right now, if it's like that and you need him to get it open, put him in my hands. Come on down to Last Chance Weekend, February 11th through the 13th. If you're able to make that, we get people to open up. Trust me, we'll figure this out. We'll figure this out together. All right. Music note 80. Another question. My husband say things and do another. Isn't that part of my trust issues? Of course it is. Honesty is that it like, we live in a world full of liars. I say this all the time. Everyone's lying all the time. How do you feeling today? Good. Knowing darn well something's wrong. And then people make commitments and break promises. You have to look at the intentions behind it. And what's happening here is a communication breakdown. Because sometimes we as husbands will say yes, or we're going to do something because we feel like we're being forced to say that. Sometimes we're doing it preemptively because we feel like that's what's expected of us, and we don't have the intention of doing it. And sometimes we have priority issues and we don't put our wife first. We put work first. We put life first. We put bills first. We put this first. And then sometimes it's just pure deception. So knowing the exact thing, we would have to know him a little better. Once again, I would encourage you. There is a 15-minute free call that you can do if you're working through issues and you're seeking answers. A 15-minute free call. You can call that number below. Or you can text the helpline, or you can reach out and sign up on the website, couplesacademy.org, for that free 15-minute session. That goes for anybody else who's going through something and wants to see if there's a way that they can rectify it with Couples Academy. Patrice Lynette Smith. Is it part of the process to feel nothing after so much pain? I can't explain it. It's painful still, but not as bad as the discovery of the betrayal. Absolutely. There is this void that happens once you get through a discovery. And it's kind of like, sometimes it feels like a whatever. Sometimes it feels like, like you took a painkiller. Sometimes it feels, empty. Sometimes it feels even hopeless. And one of the most important parts of this process, I'm going to say this over and over and over again, is you have to design together the marriage that you want to achieve. So if he sounds like he's playing in the process, like he's actually part of the process, you have to sit down and do the design work, just like you would say something happened to your house. Say your house caught on fire, right? And your kitchen burned up, and the living room, a few things got smoked out, and maybe the sprinkler system killed some of your furniture. Well, you go in there, you see the tragedy, and you discover all the damage that was done, right? Well, what's the next move? If you've gone through the counseling and you made the call, you can have things just patched up and put back like they were, or you can create a plan and say, you know what? I'm going to take this insurance money that's coming in, and I'm going to design an all-new, better kitchen that was better than it was before. I'm going to buy better furniture than I was before. And that's what I'm talking about, sitting down and designing your marriage. What is the ideal marriage? Have this conversation with your husband. Sit down and ask him, listen, if none of this had happened, if none of this ever happened and we could pick the most perfect version of a marriage, what would we do? imagine 10 years from now, everything was perfect. What would that look like? And walk backwards from there and start creating a process to get to that. And then enjoy that journey along the way. You'll stop feeling empty, I promise you, especially if he's willing to participate in the process. Good evening, Devon. Good evening, Derek. And then I also have another question from Kathy. He feels so much has been done that I would be better off without him. I feel so much has been done that he should do the work to prove to me and himself that he can be the man and husband he was designed to be. What can I do to encourage him on the ladder? Well, I would first always take a look at yourself and how are you contributing to any issues that could be there. Because before we can ask anyone else to do the work, we also have to be willing to do the work ourselves. This is a together process. He doesn't need to prove to you. What you guys need to do is design a future together. I see a lot of people wanting to prove. And yes, guys, you got to show up and prove. But there are always contributing factors. I'm not going to say always. I would say 6 to 7 out of every 10 situations, there are contributing factors. And if you've gotten to the bottom of those contributing factors, you know what they are. If you haven't, I would sit down and have a discussion about what are each of you doing that are causing each other to act out or not be the people that need to be. And then I would work on creating a solution together. Because if you want to move forward, you're going to have to make improvements on yourself, and he's going to have to make improvements on himself, and that's going to create the ideal situation to move forward. Without both people doing the work, it doesn't work. Shalise, should I share my fears and insecurities with my husband as I recover from this betrayal and restore our marriage? Is it better to deal with that part on my own? That depends on the nature of your relationship. Can he handle you sharing your fears and insecurities? If not, I would seek counseling. If he can, then yeah, work it out. Like, I share everything with my wife. My wife always shares her fears and insecurities with me, and I appreciate that. It really depends on the structure and where you're at in your process of recovery. If the problem with the sharing of the fears and insecurities is it being done with the right intent. Because if you're sharing your fears and insecurities and it feels to him like he's being targeted, then maybe not. But if it feels like, hey, listen, I want to share what's going on in my mind with you because I want you to understand what I'm going through, and I want to work on solutions together, and it becomes more of that kind of thing, I would ask him, hey, are we in a space yet where like I could share my fears and insecurities with you? Because I feel like it's going to help me with the recovery process. At some point, yes, you have to be able to discuss all of your fears, all of your insecurities in your relationships with each other. Because he's supposed to be your best friend. There was a point when you guys didn't care about anyone else in the world except each other. And every thought that crossed your mind probably got shared. And what you're trying to do is restore that. So absolutely, but you might need to preface it with a conversation and see if you're in that space. If you're not in that space, I would seek counseling and do it in that environment where it feels safe for both of you. Charmaine Pino. I'm going overtime a little bit, guys, because I have nothing to do tonight, and I'm still wide awake, even though I've been up since 4 o'clock. So, Charmaine Pino, I'm going to try to answer all your questions. My husband would sit and watch TV for hours, be on his cell, not take time to have communication with his children and wife. He is quite comfortable just doing that, not much communication. So this is okay. This is sedation. Something in his life is not going the way he planned it, and he feels like he's settling. This is a very real thing for many. I call it Bundy Syndrome. You wake up one day and you're a shoe salesman. You're not really happy with life, and so you just watch TV and sports and movies and games. You ignore your wife. You ignore your children. I think I was definitely in that phase at one particular time. And it becomes a sedation. So for some men, when they go through that midlife crisis, they seek new, exciting things that could end up in drugs, alcohol. It can even end up in physical abuse. It can end up in womanizing. There's a benign version that's just as dangerous, that is television and video games. Sometimes in women, it'll manifest itself as, housewives, Kardashians, or flip that house or anything. They'll just sedate and try to get through life one show at a time, one episode at a time, one video game at a time, one sports game at a time. And there's a lack of enthusiasm. That's the beginnings of a stage of depression. And so when a man's dealing with that particular ontological crisis, when I say ontological, I mean the study of who you are and what is being, and you reach a crisis, we call this a midlife crisis. One of the reactions is to sedate in this way. And so there's a goal or a dream or a vision of the future that is no longer there. He probably got bogged down with the whole concepts of work, being mom and dad, not really having that connection anymore. That slowly fizzled out over time. And then he just went into hiding behind the TV, because nothing that he sees in his reality right now has a possibility of improving. Now, that's not necessarily your fault. You may not have anything to do with it at all. It just may be what life has handed him or dealt him. But you have to create a vision for the future, and you have to start striving for impossible goals and possible dreams. One of the ways to do that is through counseling. Restore your marriage. Like this is most of what I do now is because of my wife and my kids. It's no longer about going to work to pay the bills. It's because I want to be a bigger part of their lives. That takes work. And there's going to be a point when he reaches a darker place than that. And I would suggest at some point he seeks some kind of other men to help him start accomplishing his goals. I would try to maybe get him to watch some kind of motivational thing, or get him to talk about his dreams or his visions or why he is where he is. If you can have those conversations with him and get him to just open up a little bit about, like, listen, I see before, I'm not complaining. I know you're in a space right now, but, I remember when you used to have all these dreams, these goals, and these visions. What happened? What can I do to help bring that back to life for you so that, and sometimes it's as simple as taking a course, getting a new job, finding a new ambition, finding a new hobby, and that can bring life back into that part of his life so he's not hiding on the couch anymore. Get him to talk to me. Have him reach out to Hassani, and he'll schedule some time with me. And if he's open to it, we've with our men's, we have the Foundry. And the Foundry, by the way, we are taking still a couple more guys, since we only had the one light week of mostly introductions last week and getting to know each other a little bit. And we went through some of the initial coursework, but we're not too far, and we've got 2 more days. If you have a husband, or if you are a husband and you are looking to find your place in this world, I would suggest you come into the Foundry. I have run this program privately for men for the last 10 years, and it has been life-changing. So I'm going to put that on real quick, and I'm going to hang out with you guys a little bit tonight because I can. I know Sonic probably doesn't want me to do that too long, but I will definitely make sure that I try to answer as many of your questions as I can before I have to leave. So let me see. Do we have up? I don't know. Do we have it? I don't know if we have the Foundry. So, well, we have a testimonial from Mike. I'll go ahead and add that in since I don't have the actual commercial.
Hi, my name is Mike, and I just want to offer my personal testimony with the program, that I feel very fortunate and lucky to be involved in such a great program. It's been a game changer for me in a lot of different ways. I've met a lot of great guys, like-minded guys that are looking to grow, to expand, to become more focused in many aspects of their lives, being a better man, a better father, a better husband, to be more successful, not only financially, but just in many different areas of life emotional, physical, like I said, financial, and especially being middle age, it's very hard to make connections like this or to find other men that are kind of on a common journey. And as I mentioned, I really feel lucky to be part of this group, and I'm looking forward to seeing what lies in the future, how I continue to expand my thinking, how I become more focused, how I can improve so many different aspects of my life. But again, I definitely recommend the program. It's been great for me, and I'm sure if you take the chance yourself and invest yourself and work the program, you will see great changes in your life as well. Thanks.
So that was Mike, and I had the fortunate experience of working with Mike for the last couple of years and watching him change. As you can tell, he's not a forthcoming guy. He's kind of an introvert, but at the same time, he has done remarkable improvements in bringing his life back to life. So I hope that helps a little bit, Charmaine. Have him reach out, get that 15-minute call. We'll talk to you about the program. If you can get him on the phone with us, we'd love to talk to him as well. Zandra, is it possible to have a session with you? We've been meeting with Hassani. Absolutely. Reach out to Hassani. He's the one who schedules all of my appointments. So absolutely, just let him know that you want to do a session with me. He won't have a problem with that. In fact, he'd probably welcome it, because his schedule is pretty full. And so sometimes it's good to have just a different voice, a different opinion, and we're all here to help each other. Hassani and I have known each other for 30 years, and I had no plans on ever getting into relationship counseling. But he asked me to come on board, and I did, because so I'm absolutely, yes. Just reach out to Hassani and just let him know you want to have a session with me. That's not a problem. Mia, let's see here. How do I move from hating the people that my boyfriend cheated on me with, who I see every day? I think there's a healthy disdain that's probably warranted. Hatred is probably a little bit extreme. So I don't know how long ago it was, and so there's a period that it's completely understandable that you would feel that. You see these people every day. Is there a way to get these people out of your life? Because personally, when I experience a betrayal, I try to remove, what in business or friends, I try to just remove those people from my lives. But if you're forced to kind of see them every day, whether it's in work or church or some kind of environment, you're going to have to create a healthy way for you to deal with the fact that that happened. Steps and processes towards that. I'm trying to think of a book, because there's a lot. There's a lot there, because like, how do you get over hating someone who's caused you pain? Well, I mean, it's easy to slap a Bible verse in there and say, we need to forgive people, but that's not always so easy. That's dangerous too without counseling. So, sometimes people need to be confronted in a certain way, and it needs to be done in a safe environment, but I don't want to suggest that right now. What I will suggest is that I will save your question for Hassani, because he's going to be a little bit better at that than I am. I typically deal mostly with the men. I am involved heavily in the couples counseling now with the Last Chance weekends, but I typically don't have that issue. I know how I would deal with it through avoidance of those people, but I don't know if I was forced to be in an environment like that. I think Hassani might have a better answer for you on that, just for me being completely honest. I don't have all the answers, unfortunately, but I definitely will take that into consideration. I'm going to keep your question, and I'm going to do a little bit of research, and maybe something will come to me that I already know. There's also a book that I saw something about that in at one particular point. Legendary Lady, welcome back. Thank you for the belief, faith, trust breakdown. That was amazing. Helps me with everything, not just my marriage. Jeff, killing the game. Thank you so much. That's what I work with, is frameworks. I like digging into sometimes even ancient writings. I actually stole that from something that was written 6,000 years ago. believe it or not. But in studying those things, sometimes you see important frameworks, and I like to pull frameworks out of things that people can use very quickly. Mia, you've got me looking for a framework, so I'll definitely do that. Gonzalez, thank you for mentioning Last Chance Weekend, February 11th through the 13th. Gonzalez, are you going to be there? Maybe? Let me know. Much needed answers. Thank you. When you feel abandoned, what's the next step? So, Houston, when you feel abandoned, what's the next step? I need to know a little bit more. I'm probably going to be ending this session here soon, but Houston, please come back, because when you feel abandoned, what's the next step? What I need to know, is there an actual physical abandonment, or is it similar to Charmaine's question where he is kind of retreating off, or she's trying to retreating off into isolationism, where they're trying to, and then I need the backstory. I need to know, is this from an infidelity? Was there an infidelity? Is there, what's the conditions under which this abandonment is happening? Because how that happened, how we got there, it has more to do with it than the reaction. Abandoning someone or making someone feel abandoned has more to do with the actions that took them there. This is just the response to the series of events or actions or situations that led up to it. Teresa Heron, wow, we'll pray for you, Mia. That's tough. Yep, I agree. It is a tough situation to be around people who hate you. Well, everybody, I want to thank you again and for coming out to the show. We are now at, how long have we been on? 52 minutes. If somebody's got a last question, I'm willing to take a shot at it. If not, I'm going to cut us loose here in a second. I hope you were able to get some of the answers you were looking for. I do want to just mention again that we are open to Spanish-speaking people around the world. And also, like, share, subscribe. As always, we'll see you here tomorrow. Hassani will be here. Well, will he be here tomorrow? It'll either be Hassani or Lakeisha and I back tomorrow. I also want to let you know that Last Chance Weekend, any of the events, you can schedule a call also. All the links for the events, just hit show more and you'll see all the events. For men who want to join the Foundry, just go on and click on the Foundry and you will be able to see how to do that. This is not recorded. This is actually live, Teresa. But it is being recorded and it will be available on the YouTube channel. Mia, okay. Let me just crack at what she's saying. Currently, I have to see them multiple times a day during school, which I am working on to get a transfer at the end of the year. I just need to know at least how to hold on for the meantime. Wow. I get it. That's a tough situation, Mia. Like I said, I'm gonna let Hassani know about this particular question. I'm sure he has an answer for it. I know what I would do, but I don't know that would be possible for you. So I want to make sure I keep this within the realm of the experts. And I'm an expert on a lot of things, but that's not it. Houston says, yes, there was unresolved issues, sleeping on the couch or in the kids' room, moved away, and now looking to do travel nursing. Minimal communication, doesn't feel like a home. Okay, I get it. So this is where, once again, we need to revive and reinvigorate. And what I need to know, Houston, is there a willingness on their part to do that? And then what conditions? We said, yes, there was unresolved issues. Now they're sleeping on the couch or in the kids' room. Okay. You need counseling. I'm going to make a suggestion. If you can, come to Last Chance Weekend. If not, set up a discovery call and talk with Hassani about how he has this special method that he does where he gets people involved in the situation. And I would suggest that you do the free discovery call. The numbers below, and that should open up the door, because that's what he's good at, is like breaking down those barriers, those walls. Mia, I appreciate your help. It already makes me feel hopeful for the future. Mia, I would be hopeful for the future. I hate the waiting game. I really do hate the idea that you have to sit there in that environment. Once again, I will put this to Asani and make sure that we come back and answer this question for you tomorrow. Even if he's not here, I'll have an answer for you tomorrow, I promise. Okay? All right, everyone. I am thankful that you guys came on here and stuck with me through this. This isn't my show, it's their show, but I do love doing this. I do love being able to help where I can. Where do I go for him to see my questions? Oh, Mia, I will make sure that he gets those. I have access to all this stuff, and after the call, I always have to shoot him texts, and we talk probably up until 10 or 11 at night usually. So I'll make sure that he gets all of your that particular question. All right. I saw that one up there that you had mentioned before. All right, everyone. Have a great night. Once again, thank you for joining us. And we are the Ask the Experts for the Couples Academy show. And we'll be back tomorrow evening at 9 p.m.